Salutations, bitches! It's April Fool's Day, except I'm the fool! Sorry this took so long to release. I couldn't focus on editing because I cherish my sanity. Now, in strict accordance with this, I shall now delve into the pages of a madman. Safety glasses on, motherfucker. Let's do this. Lord, give me strength, please. I know I've been a bad boy, but give a dog a bone, man. Tuesday, 14th of January, 2014. I've been searching for the best way to reveal my true colours. I am a vampire. Actually, that might just work. No, none of this works. This is as dysfunctional as a Johnny Depp relationship. That was the worst thing that could ever happen. Ever. I was at school, as opposed to France. It was the first lesson. I couldn't open my mouth, even when I tried to force the words out. It was even harder considering she sits next to me in French, the current lesson. Lesson 2, maths, we're in different maths groups. Break time, she stayed inside, and it was very echoey. Anyone could appear from thin air the moment I divulge my true form. Will she believe me? Maybe she'll think of me as a freak. Don't worry, you do not need to come out as a vampire for her to think of you as a freak. What if she does believe me and she is repelled? She'll probably throw me to the ground, stomp on my face, and spit on my corpse. No, she'd never do that. I wasted the whole day by filling it with failed attempts. For the umpteenth time, life, stop making things hard for me. Insert boner joke here. I'm tired of doing work now. It's clearly this guy put no work into this book, so why should I fucking bother? The end of school, finally. If I could tell her before she reaches the bus. That's the end of the sentence. I saw her. Then I saw something so heart-shatteringly painful. I felt like punching the ground so hard that the concrete would break as much as my heart did. Persephone approached me. My hopes rose, but it turned out she was walking up to the person behind me, Caleb, then hugged him. I felt sick in my stomach. I was on the verge of falling to the ground and never opening my eyes ever again. Bitch, you don't even know her. I ran home, past Tesco's Express. Tesco is not plural. There is only one Tesco, and it's the only one we need, but not according to my hometown, wherein we have 3 Tescos. So I suppose maybe it was foreshadowing the plurality of contemporary Tescos. Past the Tesco's Express, past the junction near the toy shop, down the hill. Then I tripped and smashed my face on the concrete. Then I just cried to ground. I saw no point in continuing my existence, yet I continually trudged through the overwhelming challenges of a painful life worse than the heat of a blisteringly burning blue fire. Well, that was the saddest thing I've ever read, but I don't think it's in the way that he wants it to be. Then it started raining. Classic heartbreak weather. Trust the rain to dampen my spirits further, no pun intended. What is the tone of this supposed to be? I mean, I didn't expect the tone to be consistent given the general inconsistency of everything in this book, but I would have appreciated it. Wednesday, 15th of January, 2015? Bro, did my man get the date wrong? Oh, who cares anymore? Life is fleeting. We're all gonna die one day. I didn't even bother going to school today. I acted ill as possible when Mum came up to inform me that breakfast was ready. Luckily, I looked very ill as my face was crimson from crying. She let me stay in today. I'm getting paler today, but forget blood. I don't care if my species is revealed to the world. Let them know. There's much more important matters at hand for me. I'm not going to school. Ever. I can't believe Caleb would get a girlfriend. Of all people. If I was still in it, I'd ban him from the outcast group. It's in my bed I reside currently, looking through papers in an old box of drawings, comics, and stories. I lost myself in the pages. Shut up. Oh my god, I hate you. Also, none of these pages are actually attached to the book itself. It certainly felt better than school, without the stampeding and bickering, pushing and shoving, screaming and jostling. My life could be so much better than this. I could be rich and famous, have parties every day. Breakfast would be pies, lunch would be chocolate. Life should feel like a bird scouting the boundaries of the skies. The ground should be my pedestal, shaking with my every step. This reads like something from early primary school when they're teaching you about metaphors. Instead, I'm an ant. The grass spreads out across the open world, trapping me like a cage. I feel sick. This is like baby's first literacy lessons. Oh, we've got similes and metaphors here. We've got onomatopoeia here. Is this guy trying to show off? How embarrassing. I kicked my TV in a rapid blur of motion, as hard as I could. Then Mum came in. What was all that noise? Mum asked. I fell out of bed, I whispered bitterly, in a raspy, croaky voice, which made my throat hurt. She went downstairs after sighing. I don't blame her. I'm always falling out of bed. You could have used it to make some sort of self-deprecating joke. Instead, you were just like, oh, I'm always falling out of bed. That doesn't add anything. How did I kick the TV so many times at that speed without having to stop? Vampire strength? Maybe it only comes in dire situations or times of stress. That's usually what happens in the movies. What movies? Of course, vampire speed. At this time of the book, at this time of year, localized entirely within his bedroom. Thursday, 16th of January 2015. It's 1 o'clock in the morning and I don't feel remotely tired. Maybe I've got insomnia. What's next? I'm not gonna read that. Holy shit. All you need to know is I watched a lot of Onision at the time, and he used to talk about disorders and stuff in like a really disrespectful and joking way, and I guess that sort of bled into this. I got out of bed. I made my bed. Then I got back into bed. Then I got out again and paced around the room. I turned the light on. I wrote a comic. I mean, I understand it is a diary, but could you please not share your thoughts with us? Don't tell me what happened today. Just get back to the good stuff. Skip all of... In an actual book, none of this would be here. But without any of this, we wouldn't have the book we're reading right now. 8:30. I'm leaving for school. 8:35. There are some Year 11s following me. Then, without warning, they grabbed me and pushed me into a hedge filled with nettles and thorns. I will say, it is effective having one bad thing pile on top of another. Like, yeah, he's just found out that Persephone's dating Caleb, and that's broken his heart. And then the second he decides he's actually going to start coming back to school, he starts getting harassed by bullies. I think that works, actually. And also, this is taken from something that actually happened to me in Year 7. Yeah, most of this occurs exactly how it did in real life. The cheek. I was sent into a rage and aimed a punch at the Year 11's spud head. Okay, I didn't do that in real life. But he caught it with his hand. I pressed the button on the traffic lights and waited for the cars to stop. I ran, making for the other side. Then I was gripped by the shirt and dragged to the road. A car was approaching. My eyes widened with fear. I was petrified. I didn't know if there was anything I could do. Changing tense mid-sentence once again. I then worked up the courage to elbow the potato-headed Year 11 in the stomach and run as the other one followed. My heart pounded. I could run no further. The Year 11 caught up to me, threw a punch, and then cracked an egg on my head. Why would they do that? No punches or anything were thrown, but they did hold me in the middle of the road as a car was coming, which was terrifying. And I was able to get into Sainsbury's, and they were chasing me the whole way. I was trying to hide. And then while I was getting stuff for my mum, they cracked an egg on my head. One of the people working there saw it and banned them from the shop and gave me 2 packets of free jelly babies, which was nice of them. I chose the jelly babies, by the way. They weren't like, oh no, you've been egged. Here, have some jelly babies. It'll make it taste better. Everybody had a good time laughing at me for dyeing my hair with egg yolk. It broke my heart to see Persephone laughing as well, hanging with Caleb. I didn't tell a teacher. I shouldn't have reacted when they pushed me into the nettles and thorns. I did try to report them. The thing is, I didn't remember what they looked like. So my tutor at the time gave me a list of the Year 11s to go through, and I just guessed. I assume nothing happened to them. I don't even know if I picked the right people, because I guess I either blotted the memory out or everything was so fast-paced that I just couldn't remember it, which is a terrible thing to put in your story, just a thing that you can't remember. It was lunchtime. I wasn't hungry. Insomnia, tick. Anorexia, tick. Dignity, leave blank. I just stayed in the boys' toilets, staring at the mirror, the last month flowing through my mind. The kind of flowery writing that actually gets me in the character's head. It's a decent change from knocking just on the outside of his head with no idea of what the hell he's actually saying. I closed my eyes. I started crying. Then I stopped. It wasn't tears running down my face. It was blood. I panicked. Then somebody came in. Uh-oh. I tried to wipe my eyes, however it was no use. Seeing the only option left for me, I fell to the ground and acted dead. The boy gasped. He ran off. I was about to get up and go. Then the boy and the head teacher appeared. The next thing I knew, I was on a metal stretcher, being guided into the dark insides of the ambulance. My mind was racing. This wasn't very high on the list of fun things to do, and I was frightened. The hospital drew ever nearer, and I had to act fast. Without even consulting my own self, that doesn't even make sense, my body forced itself off the bed, and before I knew I was prizing open the back doors to the ambulance and darting out. Luckily, there wasn't any other cars on the road, which is a rarity, especially around this place. So he just jumps out the back of an ambulance, and nothing comes of it. The ambulance doesn't, notice and, turn back. He doesn't, hurt himself on the floor. He doesn't have to roll or anything. The way he got out of the ambulance and landed on the floor could have actually told us something about the character, but no, he had to leave that out. Otherwise, he might have us wondering how the fuck he managed it. I dashed home, which was about a couple of miles. I got home at around the time school finishes. Mum was almost crying when she saw me. Before she could open her mouth, I just told her that it was a massive prank. She calmed down instantly, and then life continued as though a second ago had never happened. I'm sorry, you did what? That is worse than anything else he's done in this book so far. Blowing up robbers, I can stomach, but this is unacceptable. You don't lie to your mum like that. She was worried sick and they were just like, it's just a prank, bro. Fuck you. Friday, 17th of January 2015. I got to school. The first thing I saw on my locker was this. We don't have lockers. And it's a drawing of a poster that says Pepe has rotten egg illness. And then a drawing of him with egg on his face. That's the lamest way to say that. I'm guessing Caleb wrote it, as I can tell from the crude drawings. Why is he suddenly being rude to Pepe? They have not interacted at all. And the fact that he's dating Persephone would do nothing to create enmity between the two of them unless, Persephone mentioned at some point that Pepe was, coming on to her. And that's if she even recognised it. They were friends and they were in the same gang. What the fuck is... This makes negative sense. Everybody's still laughing at me. My very name has become an insult. I heard some year 7 saying to his friend, "Don't be such a Pepe." I suppose that works, in the same way as an unemployed person on benefits would work. And then I heard a voice ring out from the corridor. "Hey, don't trip." What? Before I could figure out what he meant, he kicked my leg and I fell. Who? Whomstead of the fuck has been kickingstead thou's legster? People stayed away from me the whole day. Whenever I tried to speak, somebody would imitate a chick clucking or chirping. My life has lost whatever remained of its meaning. I went up to Persephone at lunchtime, but even she walked away when I went near. "Poor chick," she muttered. I thought she was different from the others, but she's as heartless and spiteful as a bull charging towards a red blanket. Fun bit of trivia, bulls can't see. You already know that. Ever heard of hope? If you have a ray of it, please give it to me. Wow, that was quick. Persephone just yelled at Caleb that she hated him. Thank you, Caleb, for being horrible so that Persephone hates you. What? I just got whiplash from that. Okay, so apparently bad shit's happening until the story just decides it's no longer happening. Fine, okay, great. I bet no one's going to mention rotten egg illness ever again, despite the fact that it has been a page. I couldn't help but do a tiny celebratory dance, then stopped abrupt at the thought of being seen. I just remembered. It's my birthday in a month. No boy in my class hasn't had a girlfriend apart from me. I don't want to be the only year 9 without a girlfriend. That would be just tragic. You know what's really funny? I never got a girlfriend until the end of year 9, as in the literal last day of year 9. I guess I sort of wrote a self-fulfilling prophecy there. I'm going to do it. I'm finally going to tell her I'm a vampire. No time for fear. I must do it now, when school ends. Tomorrow. Oh, yeah, weekends. Monday. Forget it. Now, here I go. I'm actually doing it. That went well, I guess. Maybe. Not sure. I went up to Persephone. Oh my god, he's actually doing it. The mad lad. I told her I needed to tell her something. She looked impatient and clicked her tongue. But let me talk. Why are you trying to date this irredeemable monster? Actually, you know what? Yeah, you two deserve each other. I blubbered on about something along the lines of romantic vampire movies, as far as I can remember. Persephone looked annoyed and confused, as I foolishly stuttered and stammered and blurted through jumbled gibberish. That is just one half of a sentence, cut down in its prime by a full stop. The only thing full about your sentences are the full stops at the end of them. Then she had a look of confusement, not a word, and mesmerism. She edged closer. I felt uncomfortable. Never mind, I'll just go, I said. No, stay for a second, she practically pleaded. I felt strange. She gave me a look of astonishment. Then, it all happened so fast. She bent forward and, with her eyes closed, wrapped her arms around me and kissed me. I never felt something so amazing. This feels dirty. I feel uncomfortable reading this. I don't want to know about these 14-year-olds locking lips. And it doesn't even make sense, which makes it all the more disgusting. I don't care if the whole class of fellow Year 9s were gazing with dismay. Let them stare. No one should be subjected to this. You discount Tim Curry from Transsexual Transylvania. What does that mean? Saturday, 18th of January 2014. He just went back a year again. This motherfucker can time travel now. I mean, to be fair, I'd rather read that story than this one, but come on. This is a lot to process. When things seemed like they were at their worst. When I thought... What? When I thought nothing would ever go right in my life. I'd given up hope. I'd never find happiness. Then I did. Quicker than ever could have been expected. That was so painfully and unnecessarily long of a sentence. Please die. My whole school was shocked and surprised. My low self-esteem's at an all-time high. And the one girl I ever fell in love with. This is like something from a fairy tale, but I know something will go wrong. 2 hours later. I need blood, desperately. 7 hours later. I just collected a few too many pints of blood from a man who looks as if he's in his early 40s. I brought a flask and let the blood pour from the man's neck into it. After I'd sipped a couple times, a second before that, I've texted my mum that I'm going to be a bit later home today, as currently reside in the silent, blissful solitude of the common. Maybe one day you'll be able to speak English. My favourite spot is near a short tree where you can see the moon and stars terrifically well. I love stargazing. I felt the zephyr, shivered slightly, but still enjoyed my time. I've decided to name this especially bright star Persephone. Ugh. I mean, the stargazing thing is like vaguely cute, I guess, but the idea that a 14-year-old would just wander up to the common on his own is just miserable. It's so sad. Idea alert. She'd adore this. What indication has she given you that she would be interested in sitting in a field alone with you, you creep? Next Friday, I'll show her a Friday that she won't forget in a hurry. That just sounds terrifying. Please stop. Someone call the police on this character. It is rather ironic that the number of times this character jokingly refers to having the police call on him, and he just never once does. That would have been funny. That would have made the character more cautious, but also been a bit, like, cathartic, I suppose. Like, all of these jokes have actually been building up to something rather than just being dead words on a page. Sunday, 19th of January 2015. Oh, we've gone forward a year again. I can't believe for the life of me that Persephone likes me. Maybe she saw my fangs while I was talking. Probably the best possible outcome for me. I've been dancing and singing to music for the last hour. And that's the whole day, apparently. Nothing else became of that. I don't know why he couldn't have just put that in another day, but sure. Monday, 20th of January 2015. Persephone never stopped looking at me during the lessons, in lunchtime and break time. She ran up to me to ask me questions about vampirism. One new school update. I forgot the character's name. I renamed the character. There was Tonya, Shaniqua, Kristen? Was there a Sophie? Who gives a fuck? One of them's back now. Took a while. Who's ever heard of a vampire scared of blood? Stakes I can understand, but the very essence capable of saving our life? Tuesday, 21st of January 2015. I had a nightmare last night. I was wandering down an endless winding road in solitude. It was pitch black. I felt a clammy hand grasp at my shoulder. I could see the edge of the fingers. I screamed, except I couldn't open my mouth. Instead, blood spurted from my mouth. I heard a screeching/shrieking noise. Screeching is spelled so incorrectly that it makes me want to screech. Just to give him an example of what a real one would be like. I couldn't move. I was paralyzed. Yep, that's what couldn't move means. That you're doing great. I wanted to run. I wanted to cover my ears. Mr. Page, while writing, turn the page on the right to continue. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? This is the best page of the book and there's nothing on it! And he actually kept the page numbers on them. So these are actually 2 pages of the book. This is part of the... I just can't believe this. I couldn't make a joke this good. On purpose. I blinked. There were walls surrounding me, caving in. I blinked again and the walls were gone. Death was in the distance. I ran fast as I could. He wasn't even moving, yet edging ever closer. I was darting away. I looked down and then looked up. I was in bed. The walls were painted with flecks of blood. No, it wasn't a bed. It was a Venus flytrap. What the fuck? I drink to forget. I screamed. I stared squarely forward, petrified, and then all was reduced to black. Then I woke up. It was 1 o'clock. Same damn time as last time. If that had any kind of significance to the story, maybe it would be interesting. Alas, it does not, so go fuck yourself. This book punishes investment. If you're interested in this book, it will actively condemn you for that. Wednesday, 22nd of January 2015. There was nothing to do at school today, so me and Persephone played a game of cards in the library. A, you don't know how to play cards. B, Persephone and I. There was a single time when we both put our cards onto the table and we both had hearts. You're so romantic. Fuck you. It's just saccharine garbage and none of it has been earned. We got mountainous amounts of homework today. Teachers always give the pathetic excuse that they set homework to check how we're learning. So technically we wouldn't even have homework if teachers did their jobs properly. That's just unbelievably ignorant. That is believably ignorant. Thursday, 23rd of January 2015. I was watching a comedy movie before school while drinking some blood from a flask. It was so funny it made the blood come out my nose. Then Mum came in. I had to pretend I had a nosebleed. I promise this is actually going to be really important by the time the end of the book comes round. Please believe me. Give me something to hold on to. That's all I can say. I'm just so desperate for anything to like. I need a reason to live. Basically. Call the Samaritans for me. We're on a first name basis. I have them on speed dial. I got to school only to be welcomed by the cool gang, drenching me with water bottles and, by way of apology, shoved grass down my t-shirts. Then, while on the floor, on my hands and knees, Tonya walked up to me after the bullies had left and banned me eternally from the vampire gang for telling Persephone about our race. You were already banned, you shit stick! Also, the grass thing actually happened. I didn't remember that until I read it, but yeah, that was a real thing that happened to me. So I love how the only real shit that happens in this book is just all the times that I was bullied. It was all very sudden. I don't care, though. I was tired of hanging around those undead fiends. At least I wouldn't have to endure their constant moaning. It's always a trivial, petty waste of time. I got home today casually, as though school never happened. Then I froze in my tracks. Mum was sitting on the living room sofa with a familiar-looking man holding a beer. He was the man whose blood I drank on Saturday the 18th of January 2014. Wait, you mean last year? Why the fuck did 12-year-old me just forget what year the characters were in? And it happens like every other day. It was perfectly consistent until now. This book is a joke, except the punchline is whoever's reading it. He was pale. He looked like a tramp. He was wearing a grey and black striped cotton jumper and torn, dirty jeans. If I was wearing that, Mum would kill me. His name is Terry, and he's 46 years old. He has short hair and very grey stubble. More beer, he yelled, while still on his 5th can. I was outraged. Who's paying for all those 6 packs of beers, I questioned, having a slight suspicion what the answer was. Needless to say, Mum nodded slowly and ladled out another can of beer. Don't ask me why this lazy drunken mess can't get it himself. He's also a chain smoker, so I predict that I'll wake up to a fire alarm. Mum had barely quit smoking. I love how his mum's only character trait is she smokes. And 12-year-old me had such a low opinion of anyone who was addicted to any kind of harmful substance. Like, he just saw no humanity in other humans. And the fact that it bleeds through in here just makes for such a depressing read and such an unlikable protagonist. Friday, 24th of January 2014. We've gone back a year again! I reminded Persephone that we'd be meeting in the common at night, possibly at 8 o'clock. She looked giddy with excitement. She was absolutely ecstatic. The word ecstatic does not have an X in it, but my pillow doesn't know that, so it would be unfair to assume that 12-year-old me did. I've been counting the minutes, just staring at the clock in deep thought. Then I felt a rap on the door. In an excited frenzy, I thumped downstairs and opened the door. Stupid Terry. Okay, that's kind of funny. That's a genuine subversion. Barely 5 minutes later, Persephone knocked on the door. I opened it and greeted her warm-heartedly. "Hello, beautiful," Terry slurred. It's so gross. Someone call the police on all of these characters. Every single one, every last one. Just put them all in the slammer, permanently. I darted out, slamming the door. I had an enjoyable conversation during the duration of the walk. Well, thanks for telling us about it. This is the opposite of storytelling. This feels like it's mocking us with the fact that we will never know the parts of the story that would actually make it interesting. It's like, yeah, something happened here. I'm just not going to tell you what it is. Suck a dick. That'll be £5. This is an EA book. It's in my ass. Oh no! The book has finally come apart after 10 years. It's about damn time. I'm so exhausted, but we're so close to the end. So I gotta... Oh no, this just got made so much more inconvenient. This was the only way life could have become worse for me. Fuck it. It was dark and we arrived at the common, and the stars were bright and the moon was almost full. You were both 14 years old. It is basically illegal that you two were out this late. Where the fuck are your parents? I can't figure out why Persephone insisted on bringing her school rucksack. I felt the zephyr rushing through the landscape. Just say wind. Just say breeze. We laid on the ground and stared at the night sky, the moon and stars, Orion's belt and other patterns. It is the most amazing feeling in the world. We stared at the zenith. It's not how that word is used. Look, Persephone gasped. A shooting star. We laughed for ages. Is that all you cunts do? You only have the mental faculties available for laughter? Time seemed to slow down. The leaves of the nearby trees were floating in the air and settling on the ground like snow. Oh, that's nice. The blades of grass swayed independently in the wind, as opposed to line dancing, I suppose. But alas, it could not last. It was 11:30 and I felt tired. I could reside comfortably in the same situation for eternity. Life has never felt so glorious. I felt like I was lying on 1,000,000 chocolates, although that would be mind-blowingly expensive. A normal Cadbury's is about 65p, so 1,000,000 times. Are you kidding me? Why is there so much maths in this book? Have we not suffered enough? It's a struggle already to get through the prose, let alone the mathematics. Also, the fact that a Cadbury's bar used to be 65p, it's very depressing. That's the approximate price of a house in London. Not anymore. I walked her home and we reached Safe Lane, number 14. Large stone houses faced me. Persephone whispered in my ear, "See me at Pleasant Park tomorrow." Then she gave me a brief kiss on the lips. Sorry, a brave kiss on the lips. Then she skipped inside, and then sneaked a quick gaze out the window. Then she closed the curtains. I punched the air. Is celebration. A kiss on the lips. I hate you so much. Why does anything good happen to this character? Saturday, 25th of January 2014. I stayed up all night, in bed, reminiscing the moment that had occurred last night. Did you know if you set fire to this book, it would be more legible? I can't wait to see what Persephone has in store for me at the park. Ooh. I am leaving now as it's dusk. She seemed much quieter than usual, and hadn't said much. Yet that's what quieter means. She greeted me normally, and told me she wanted to show me something. She had her school rucksack. Why? Maybe she has a first aid kit in there for fear of getting hurt. An odd paranoia, but it's better safe than sorry. I'm sorry, she spoke in a monotonous voice. Just say a monotone. Although the whole joke of better safe than sorry, and then she immediately says sorry, that's almost smart, so props for that, I guess. She opened her rucksack, revealing a pale, expressionless, severed head. Tonya. What? Why? How? Who? When? Fish sticks? Huh? Where did this come from? Why aren't the police after her? Is no one aware that Tonya has been murdered? Is there just a headless body somewhere that no one has seen? No event in this story, no matter how catastrophic, has any effect on the world. It destroys all sense of cause and effect. How can there be stakes if nobody's actions mean anything? Where are the police, you fungal sock puppet? You murderer, I yelled, enraged. Shush, Persephone hissed. I thought you wanted to get rid of her. I said I didn't like her, was my response. I threatened to call the police and then ran off. I can't believe she'd resort to such an unforgivable crime. She's a murderer. Never want to talk to that lying betrayal ever again. It sounds like a child having a temper tantrum. It's so unrealistic. A person has been murdered and your response is, that's it, we're not friends anymore. I'm telling Mummy. Now go sit in the naughty corner, you cunt. While I was busy raging and turning my bedroom upside down, Mum and Terry opened the door. What's wrong, Mum said heartfeltly. As opposed to what the fuck are you doing? Why is this character so nice? For no reason. Couldn't tell the truth. I don't like Persephone, I replied blankly. Then Terry came forward, putting his hand on my shoulder. I tried not to react, and did an adequately successful job. Believe it or not, he gave me some surprisingly valuable advice. He told me that I should just move on, and that it was her that was in the wrong. The fact that he's just assuming that woman is in the wrong is frankly misogynistic. I think murdering someone is a more serious matter, but I kept that quiet. God knows what would happen if someone else found out. And there's a illustration here that makes me want to kill myself. So yeah, if you'd like to see that, I guess. Saturday, 26th of January 2015. I went to the park where Persephone had done the unthinkable, trying to wrap my head around these peculiar events that have been occurring. Occurring would have been spelt more correctly if he had written it backwards. I don't know how I could forgive such an extreme, cold-hearted deed, especially from Persephone. She's the last person anyone would ever expect to be a murderer. Now I've seen everything. I was walking down the street to Sainsbury's and everything seemed gloomy, colourless and uninvited. Granted, it's winter. It must have been my imagination. My mood has been so dark recently, it's no surprise that my surroundings are beginning to reflect that. Oh shit! That's the end of the book! We've actually finished. There is no more after that. I never finished the book. I can't remember what stopped me from finishing the book. I know I had an idea for an ending and some stuff that would happen before it, so the fact that it never actually got written down is just baffling. I mean, thank God, because I don't have to read anymore, but just when stuff was actually starting to happen. Do you know what? I'm not going to end it there. I'm going to finish this book, and I'm going to try to keep it as consistent with the previous style as possible, because I feel like the book needs to be consistent in at least one regard. I did have some notes that he would get back with Persephone somehow. He would transform the Outcast gang, no idea why. Maybe he would join Persephone as a vampire slayer. Persephone would be noticed by Cecil, the one who transformed Tonya, and murdered, and then Pepe would get his revenge, and that would be the end of the book. No, I think he resurrects her as a vampire or something. Either way, none of those ideas are good. So let's write them. If you have any suggestions for what should be in the book, please put it down in the comments below and I will include it, no matter how bonkers it is, because it cannot get more bonkers than this. This is the best half of a book that I've ever read. Not really. That was the most unbearable experience in history. Thank you so much for bearing with me throughout this whole thing. The book may be over, but it's not finished. I'm gonna finish this book and then we're gonna have a final episode. We put to rest 10 years of untapped potential and a general disrespect for literature. If you liked it, like it, and if you subscribed, then you're awesome. So I say bye. This disgusting sugar-free monster can says bye. This disgusting vape that I need to stop doing but I've been addicted to for 2 years says bye. And I shall see your bitch ass in the next video. Bye-bye.